Hey guys, welcome to Dwarvenkegger. It's Rob. Today I'm gonna rant, and I'm gonna rant about the second zombie film in Romero's trilogy / more than trilogy now, Dawn of the Dead. So Dawn of the Dead is a 1978-1979 film that kind of took everybody by surprise. It's one of the most amazing films to date. I mean, it is a beautiful rendition of a comic book zombie flick, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think it's pretty awesome. My absolute biggest pet peeve with the whole movie is probably the fact that the zombies aren't as gruesome as you would like them to be. And that being said, it's a really good movie still. There's no issue when it comes to the politicized, play on like mall culture and stuff like that. This was when shopping malls were still new. Like there's a scene where, spoiler alert, one of the guys says, "What is this place?" And it's a response of, "Well, it's one of those new indoor shopping centers." It's like, that's crazy, like how is that weird? You know what I mean? Like today's culture, we're like, well, we know what a mall is. Malls are almost obsolete now for us, which is another weird thing. I think that maybe they would have fun having like a play on, having a little play on the correlation between what we have now and what we had back then. I can't tell if that's blurry or what, but whatever. I'm just a big fan of Romero's films because there's a lot to them. There's a lot underneath the surface of the films. There are in this particular movie, there are 4 main characters. That's something you don't normally find. And I mean, they're all very important characters. So they wouldn't be there without the others. That's just the way that is. There's the 2 guys, which are your like SWAT team guys. There's the TV producer, girlfriend, and then there's the guy that flies the helicopter for the TV crew, for the news agency. That's how they get out. They also survive as long as they have because they have the 2 SWAT guys. And I mean, the woman, she essentially holds everybody together by trying to keep logic involved. And it's awesome that it works that way, but at the same time it's also slightly terrifying because she has this blaseness about her that just it's kind of frightening. If I'm honest, I'm not a super giant, huge, big, mega fan of the if I die, I die kind of mentality. Like, so in the original ending, before they went with the ending that they have now, they actually had a long, drawn-out process of arguments with test views, like test crowds and stuff like that. And one of the biggest issues was that she committed suicide. She jumped up into the helicopter blades at the very end, and it killed her. It cut her head off or whatever. Well, that's actually kind of funny because they shot that scene and it went over, it didn't go over well, but the scene itself was done beautifully, and it was only a one take, so they had an extra head. Well, they reshot the opening scene after they realized that there wasn't going to need to be another reshoot on that one particular scene at the end, when actually they just kind of put them in the helicopter flying away. But where this guy Wooly just kicks open this door and just shoots, and the next thing you know, you just see this head explode. Well, the funny story behind that is it's actually part of the initial female antagonists, or protagonist, the female lead's death. So, you know, they just kind of like recycled some of the stuff, which is pretty cool. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think that it's a very well done film. I'm not the biggest supporter of like holding up in a mall. I think that's stupid. I think you shouldn't do that. I'm pretty sure that most malls aren't equipped to handle shit like this. One of the really big things was the intense moment when the biker gang found out that there were people there because he was teaching someone to fly the helicopter, and they end up getting into the mall, and it becomes a shit show. And I mean that, like, it's everybody's breaking stuff, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that, and it just becomes fucking insane. Tom Savini has a really awesome character in it called Blades, who pretty much goes through it, choppeting zombies and shit, which is awesome. It's funny. It's a fun play on you know, the way that things kind of are in our culture, where it's like we have the super mellow people who are just trying to keep, you know, mind their own business, keep to themselves, and then we have those really brash, annoying fuckers that always seem to find their way into a peaceful situation. But it also shows you kind of like human nature. You know, there's a scene in the beginning when they're first flying to the mall. They don't realize they're flying to the mall, but when they're first flying over the Pittsburgh countryside, or the Pennsylvania countryside, and there is a very menacing tone to start with, where they kind of show the military and stuff like that, and then it goes into showing what are essentially rednecks that are hunting these zombies, that are just having a good old time drinking beer. So the music goes from somewhat ominous to like this jovial, like shindig kind of a feel, and you know, it's very unnerving. It's unsettling to see these people having such a good time, essentially hunting these people that were once alive. That, you know, they use them for target practice at one point. One of the guys, you know, blows up a car with them next to it and shit. So it's, I don't know, it's just unsettling to think that that's kind of probably what would happen human nature wise. You know, I mean, I guess I'd be a zombie hunter, but I don't know if I would drink as much as they are. But another cool part about this is they used a lot of local people. They called the Jesus, why am I yawning? They called the National Guard out, or asked the National Guard and the state police and the local police if they would come out to kind of give them, let them use their equipment and stuff like that. And this is, you know, 1970s. And they actually said yes, surprisingly enough. So the military equipment and the National Guardsmen that you see actually came out. Those weren't actors. So I mean, that's a cool little snippet. There's a lot to this movie that that I could probably talk for hours and hours and hours on. I don't like the remake. I think the remake is stupid. I think that they didn't do the first one justice. There were just a couple small nods. A couple of the main characters played some bit parts in the remake, but you know, the only saving grace of the remake was the smart-ass rich guy. Like, the only one that actually was worth, well, anything in that movie. So it's one of those things where you're like, you know, I like this. I think it's a decent kind of a flick, you know, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not the classic zombie film that I wanted to see. But that's just, I mean, that might just be me. Decent music in that one. The opening scene was pretty cool with the girl freaking out and you know, with part of her face missing or whatever, running towards people. I thought that was pretty cool, but honestly, for the most part, it's not a great movie for me. Just bits and pieces are nice and good. Ving Rhames is a very good part of that film. I really like his cop character. I don't like how dumb he plays it, but I do like, honestly, I do like the way that the cop character really comes into his own. So that's cool. Excuse me. I got a Chick-fil-A getting ready to open up on the 10th. Excited. Anyway, guys, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. Look forward to possibly a part 2 where I talk a little bit more in depth about this. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to, but just in case I do, it would be nice. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, hit that little bell at the bottom. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. You know, kind of see what we've got going on. We post some funny stuff on Facebook sometimes. Instagram lets you know that we have new videos coming out. Also, a very good indicator of, you know, things to come. If you have any suggestions, questions, if you've ever seen the original, you know, comment down below. Let us know. And if you could, please, guys, leave a comment, say hi. We like it when you say hi. And if you feel the need to possibly give us a little extra love, we do have a Patreon. Check out the Patreon, link below. Anyway, guys, cheers.